In working on this video series, I've been working from a new laptop, and I have found there are a lot of settings that I do just every time I work on a new Windows 10 machine that haven't been done yet to this device. So I'm going to walk you through some of the most common things that I change just to make my life easier and to make my computer more usable for me in Windows 10. First thing up, when I get a fresh laptop from the district here, my default browser is actually not Google Chrome, even though that's the browser that I want to use, and it's installed on my machine. So let's take a look. I'm over here on my Windows 10 laptop. I'm going to click the Start button. This, by the way, everything I talk about, laptop, desktop, doesn't matter. It's just Windows 10 that's important. So I'm going to click on Start, and then I am going to type Default App. And the first thing that shows up at the top of my screen here is Default App Settings. I want to open that up. And I want to scroll down. I'm going to find the browser section of this list is currently set to Microsoft Edge. I don't want to use Edge. I want to use Google Chrome as my default. So I click on Microsoft Edge, click on Google Chrome. There we go. Google Chrome is now my default browser. That'll take care of any web links that I click on, any applications that I install that try to open a web browser. It's going to default to opening Google Chrome. Tip number 2, all right, I want to open my PDF files in Adobe Acrobat Reader. Now, that's already installed on my machine as well. That's default by the district, but they try to open up in Internet Explorer or now Google Chrome. They don't try to open up in Adobe, and I want to change that. So let's change that. I'm also still here in my default apps, and there's a section down here at the bottom called Choose Default Apps by File Type. So I'm going to click on that, and this is going to load a list of every type of file extension that this computer knows how to do anything about. And you'll notice it takes a minute to actually fully load this list. Once it does, I'm going to scroll down, and I am looking for .pdf. PDF is the file format for Adobe Acrobat files. And I want to select the application that I want to open those PDF files in. So now that this is fully loaded, I'm going to scroll down. I can grab my little scroll bar over here on the right. I am going to find .pdf. It takes a little bit to get there. Here is .pdf, and you'll see Microsoft Edge. That's what it's currently set to load into. I don't want that anymore. So I'm going to click on Microsoft Edge here, and I can select any of the other known applications to open it in. I want to use Adobe Acrobat Reader. So I'm going to select Adobe Acrobat Reader. Now that's going to update any PDF file that I download onto my machine or have available here. I can double click it. It opens it in Reader instead of in Internet Edge. Number 3. All right, so I like to clean up my desktop. I don't like a ton of icons out here. Others completely disagree with me on this. That's okay. Everybody has their own way of organizing things. But what I will say is having your files out here is one thing. Having application files or the icons to start an application, I think, personally, is a different thing. And I'll show you why. So down in my taskbar down here at the bottom, I've got the icon for Edge, which we're going to talk about again in a little bit. And then I am using an application to record this, and then I've got my little file window here for browsing files on my computer. But I want to have the applications that I use most down here in my taskbar. And I can do that real easily with the icons that I have on my desktop. I'll show you here. I've got Google Chrome. I want that to be easy to access. So I'm going to click and drag that right down here to my taskbar. And I want to do the same thing with PowerPoint, Excel, and Word. So I'm going to drag Word over. I'm going to drag Excel over. And I'm going to drag PowerPoint. Now that I've done that, I really don't need those icons on my desktop. They're always going to be down here in my taskbar. So I'm going to select those icons that I moved. I'm going to delete those. Those are always going to be down here for me in my taskbar. One other thing that you want to know about. So there's a benefit to this. If I've got another application open, I can see my icons down here, and I can switch back and forth between applications really easily. But what not everyone knows is there's a lot more power to these icons now that they're down here than they were on the desktop. Let's take Word as an example, or Excel. We'll take Excel as an example. I'm going to right click on the Excel icon that I have. I have recently opened a demo Excel file, and I see that in my list of recent documents because I right-clicked on the Excel icon in my taskbar, something that I couldn't do from the desktop. I can also do the same thing with Chrome. You can see my recently closed. You can see tasks that I've gotten there. It just is another layer that makes the browser more functional for me. And the same with any of the applications that I drop down here in my taskbar. So I like to do this because if I've got an application open, so I'll just have Chrome open right here, because I've still got Word, Excel, and PowerPoint tied down here, I can have this window open and I can go ahead and open a copy of Word without having to minimize all the windows that I have currently open. Tip number 4, and this is one that I think really bugs a lot of people, and I don't have a real easy way to do this, so I'm just going to show you right quick, but you're going to have to take the time to go through and clean it up, and that is the Start menu. The Windows 10 Start menu does not look the same as Windows 7. We all know that. You get a list of your applications on the left, and that's similar to what you saw in Windows 7, but all this goofiness over on the right-hand side with all the icons and pictures, that's not normal, and it takes up a lot of space. I don't really use those. You could. If you've got common applications that you really like to get into here a lot, feel free to drop those out here. I don't. I prefer to have this as a clean space. So I go through and take the time to unpin every one of these from the Start menu. And once I have this cleaned up, I am left with a Start menu that really is just this list on the left-hand side, my applications, just kind of how I used to use the Windows 7 Start menu. All right, folks, this is a big one, and this answers a lot of questions when issues come up. Internet Explorer versus Microsoft Edge. Edge is the built-in new fancy browser that is in Windows 10, and they claim it to be really great. You can have your opinions on that. Mine is I prefer Google Chrome over either one of those. But if I need to use a Microsoft browser, I would much rather use Internet Explorer. And that has come into play with several applications we use in District that only support Internet Explorer. They don't support Microsoft Edge. So I want to make sure that I'm not using Edge when I'm working on different things. But what most people don't know, the icons look very, very similar, so it's hard to notice the difference. I'm going to show you down here. On the taskbar right now, there's this blue E. Looks just like the Internet Explorer icon used to, but it's a little bit darker blue, and you have to know that. If you hover over it, it tells you this is Microsoft Edge. But I don't want Edge. I don't want that anywhere out here. So we are going to right-click on Edge and unpin that from the taskbar. I don't want that getting in the way. I don't want to accidentally run Edge. What I do want to use is Internet Explorer. So I'm going to click on the Start button, and I'm going to type Internet. And when I do, Internet Explorer is going to come up at the top of my list up here. If I right-click that, I can pin that to my taskbar, and you can see the lighter blue Internet Explorer icon is now out here for me in the taskbar. I can move that around, rearrange it however I want to. And now Internet Explorer is easy for me to get to in the event I need it. For a lot of you, you may not need either one. You may just need Google Chrome, and that's fine. Just delete that Edge icon from your taskbar, and you won't have to worry about it anymore. Okay, last tip for today. I've already talked a lot about the taskbar and getting the icons down here that I want to have. Let's go the last step here and clean this up. So there's some stuff that we just really don't need. I don't need the mail icon. This is mail, not your Google Mail. This is mail built into Windows 10, and we quite frankly just don't use it. So I'm going to right-click and unpin that from the taskbar. This multicolored little shopping bag here, that's Microsoft Store. Again, we don't really take advantage of that. We install applications on our machines. I can rearrange these icons if I want them in a different order. The other thing that we can do, this big search bar over here, seems really handy, right? You can do the exact same thing by just clicking the Start button and starting to type what you're looking for. So rather than having that big search bar in the way, we can just click on that Start button and start typing. I prefer not to have that. So I right-click on that search bar. This is called Cortana. It's part of the Cortana searching features and what they usually think of as the Cortana Assistant. But it's the Cortana search box. So I'm going to click on Cortana and select Hidden. Now I don't have that search bar in the way. I can have more icons on my taskbar now, but I still have that full search functionality. Whenever I click on the Start button, I don't have to click on anything else. I can just start typing whatever it is that I want to look for. That is a few little things that can make Windows 10 much more functional for you in the future. Hopefully, you'll get some use out of these, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to take a look.